Salita, tulain ang indak, sumayaw sa himig, awitin ang diwa. Dati akong paraluman. Ang programa ukol sa mga ulat sa komunidad ng sining at kultura. Magtanong, magbungkahi, at makibahagi. Dito lamang sa Dati Akong Paraluman. Tuwing Lunes, alas 3 ng hapon. Dati Akong Paraluman. Sa Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM. Join Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle as he delivers to us the preachings of the Sunday's Gospel that's awe-inspiring, yet easy to understand and appreciate. Let us all listen to the Word of God here on The Word Exposed on Air, only on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.
Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan. The voice of WEagle kami, di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay atin sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, Katipunan. Kawan ni Ignacio, Katipunero sugo, todo sa kayod, tunong at tulong. Di pag-WEagle, galing hiding at tigil.
LeadX. X is for the extracurricular life of the Ateneo College students. X is for the X factor that transforms them into leaders, into men and women for others. X is for LeadX. LeadX.
Down from the hill, we stand on.
Good morning, Ateneo. It is a very beautiful Monday morning. It is 9:04 a.m. and you are still tuned to Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. And we are LeadX. This is the show all about student activities, student org life, and student leadership here in the Loyola School of the Ateneo de Manila University. Of course, always brought to you by the Office of Student Activities. Magandang Monday morning po sa ating lahat. Ako po si Nino Reyes.
At ako naman po si Gino Flores, still live from my fake house.
Oscar na yung bahay niyo, sir. Nanalo ng Oscar yan.
Oo, from Parasite. Ayan, kung familiar kayo. Ayan. Kasi green screen lang po yan. As in, yung bahay kasi namin ngayon, kulay green. Kaya, perfect siya for online classes.
Yan, sa akin mahirap kasi pag nag-virtual background ako, nasasama yung mukha ko. Sa background.
Kulay green.
Hindi naman green yung mukha.
Ay, okay. Ano ba ito? Is this pangalan nito yung sa play.
Ay,
Si Hulk. The Mask.
The Mask.
Sino ba to? Si Elphaba.
Ayan. Tingnan natin, baka. Ayan. And yun, gaya na sabi ni Sir Ino, we are still coming live from our own homes, pero mapapanood nyo pa rin kami sa iba't ibang platforms. Ayan, saan pa nila tayo mapapanood, Sir Ino?
Ayan, you can watch us on Facebook pages of the Ateneo de Manila University, Radio Katipunan, our own Facebook page, Office of Student Activities, and on YouTube via the Radio Katipunan. Parami ang subscribers, baka naman. O meron ding audio streams.
Yan.
Economy, tama ba? Oh,
Radionomy, tama.
yes. Any shoutcast radio platform worldwide. Yan.
Worldwide
87.
na, worldwide na tayo.
Tsaka sa FM, kung kayo ay old school, ayan, yung mga naglalaba dyan sa barangka, tune in to 87.9, ayan. Naririnig nyo pa rin kami. O kaya kung papunta kayo sa Ateneo for whatever reason,
Kailangan kayo kunin, no?
yan. O kailangan nyo maglinis ng mga amag dyan.
Alam natin yan sa OSA.
Yes. Yan, pwede kayong makinig sa radyo, sa inyong mga stereo sa kotse. 87.9.
Ayan.
FM.
At ngayon, it's actually the last Monday of the month of September. It's September 28. At we are 87 days away. Ito na, nagsisimula na talaga na papalapit. Matatapos na tayo sa first Burr month. Pupunta na tayo sa pangalawang Burr month, ang October, by Thursday. No? By Thursday po, para po sa mga nakakatulog dyan, October 1 na po sa Thursday. Kaya, ayun, parang ganun lang. Tapos na yung unang Burr month. Papalapit na tayo.
Relentless si 2020 talaga, no? Akala natin si 2016 yung parang todo na. Tapos si 2012, akala natin end of the world na. May 2020.
Sabi nga nila, di ba nagkamali raw pala yung Mayan calendar. Napaaga yung
Oo. Baka lang sila, nagkamali sila sa math, ano? Mga tao rin naman sila.
Oo naman.
Magkamali. Oo.
Mahirap magbilang ng mga panahong yun. Kaya...
Short by 8 years.
Yes, ayan. Well, pero napanood po, no, sana huwag naman. Pero, yan. Pero nararamdaman, hindi ko alam po sa inyo, no? Pero kahapon, sinubukan po nating lumabas at mamili ng mga gamit-gamit dito sa bahay. At napansin natin na ang daming tao sa ang daming tao sa mga mall. Nagulat din ako na papasok pa lang sa parking area nung isang mall na pinupuntahan natin. Nakapila yung mga sasakyan. Kaya hindi ko alam kung Christmas rush ba to? Parang despite the pandemic, may
Christmas may sale. Wala bang sale?
Oh, well, although may mga sale niya.
May mga sale.
May mga
anong mall ito? Ito ba ang mall na murang sine? O ito ba yung mall na
yung mall
unang nabakante dahil sa alleged COVID-19 hindi ba
yan? Alam ko ito yung mall na takbuhan ng mga tao pag malakas ang ulan dito sa Marcos Highway. Dahil medyo mataas siya. Dito lang sa aming community mall.
Ay, yung malapit dyan. Yung may katabing sportswear house. Yan.
Uy, nakabalik na rin ako doon ngayong pandemic.
Uy!
Ayan.
Ako nakapunta dyan.
Masaya doon.
Masaya dyan. Lalo yung doon dito sa may Ortigas din.
Yan,
dito yung mas malapit sa amin.
Ang maganda doon, meron silang gamit pang skiing. No? Hindi ko alam kung bakit.
Meron.
Ewan.
Lahat ng mga bagay na hindi mo pwedeng gawin.
Yun,
meron sila.
Ayan. Christmas rush na po, no? Ayun, hindi ko alam kung dahil ba namimili na talaga ang mga tao, pero base sa dami ng tao sa kalsada ngayon at sa mga mall, sa mga bilihan, parang talagang namimili rin ng mga tao para sa Pasko siguro, tingin ko. Pero ang siguro yung kabaliktaran niya, no, yung good news, yung kabaliktaran ng good news na yan, ganun pa rin, sir, pataas pa rin ng pataas ang bilang ng ating cases. And ito nga, sir, according to a research from UP, talagang nagbigay na sila ng figures by the end of October. Di ba? 400,000.
Pero ano na raw yata yan, adjusted na yan considering na medyo bumaba daw yung cases this
Okay.
month dahil dun sa MEC. Even it could have been worse pero 410,000 is still a big number, diba?
Mm-mm.
Dami nun.
At saka parang ang bilis.
Parang in a span of one. Wala pa tayong, nasa ano nga ngayon tayo, no? Nasa 300,000 and then
300,000.
100 expected is parang additional 100,000 in a matter of 4 weeks. So madami pa rin siya. So ingat pa din kasi Sir Will, medyo nakikita ko ano na rin tayo, no? Hindi na masyado napapag-usapan no? Kasi marami na rin ibang issues, marami na rin ibang balita or marami na rin iba tayo pinagkakaabalahan. Some are even back to work in different offices. So minsan nawawala na, yung iba parang ano na lang, kampante na rin. Ano? So hindi pa rin nawawala yung virus. So still, ano pa rin mindful pa rin tayo dapat dun sa mga distances, face masks.
Kaya kailangan mag-ingat pa rin talaga dahil even though medyo bumabalik-balik na yung ibang mga yung ibang mga aspeto ng buhay natin sa normal, dapat hindi natin kalimutan na wala pa naman po talagang or hindi pa rin naman talaga nawawala yung virus. Okay, ano lang, siguro medyo lumuluwag lang yung government guidelines pero hindi po nawawala yung virus.
Yeah, di ba parang kasi nagiging normal na rin yung lahat ng di ba, ng mga before what we used to before, parang bumabalik na siya, included yung mga back transfer fees na yan. Diba?
Yeah.
Medyo nag-viral nung weekend na balik na ulit yung it was very convenient nung lockdown, di ba, na walang mga fees whatsoever. Kasi tayo, syempre, like sa Ateneo, yung sweldo natin, di ba, diretso yan sa bangko. And then you get to pay bills or transfer funds dahil nga kailangan. Yun, balik na ulit.
Balik
So,
na, may charges na ulit.
Yes. And that includes yung natin sa payroll.
Oo.
Yung bangko na ginagamit sa payroll.
Tama. Oo, tayo pa naman, no? Marami naman na sa atin siguro ang gumagamit itong mga online money transfer platforms, di ba? Kaya, ayun po, siguro mahalaga rin po na ma-consider ninyo yun, no? Whenever you use your preferred fund transfer platforms. By October 1 po, by this Thursday, magkakaroon na po ng fees. Iba-iba yata yung fees, no, Sir Ino? Parang depende sa bangko. Iba-iba yung fees. Pero pwede naman natin sabihin hindi naman ganun kalaki, although pagtitignan mo pa rin para sayang na dadagdagan mo pa yung dadagdagan mo pa dapat nung ganung amount yung ita-transfer mo para ma-offset yung yung total. So
yes,
ayun.
ranging from mga 10 pesos yata to 15 to 20 pesos per transaction. So malaki rin siya, lalo kung mabiglit anong malaman ang takbuhan ng lahat. Avoid nga natin mag-withdraw dun sa mga banks na hindi di ba? Hindi natin bangko kasi nga medyo as much as possible iwasan natin yung parang withdrawals na may bawas. Ayun, parang ganun din sa bank transfers ngayon. So may bawas din siya.
Kaya po ingat-ingat lang. Ingat-ingat lang sa pag-transfer ng pera. Ayan, sa inyong mga mobile banking or online banking by October 1. Ayan. At isa pang matunog na balita, Sir Ino, no, parang towards the end of last week hanggang itong weekend lang, yung merong isang kilala nating nag-propose na baka pwedeng i-postpone muna ang 2022 elections dahil takot daw ang mga tao sa COVID. Pero ang sagot naman ng ibang tao doon ay di ba? Parang no less than Vice President Leni Robredo yata countered that by saying na unti-unti na nga nagbubukas ang iba't ibang mga beach katulad ng Boracay, ganyan, binubuksan. Pero ang election ipopostpone dahil takot tayo sa COVID.
Again, Iba na naman yung sinasabi sa ginagawa, eh, no?
Oo.
Parang, di ba, we hear, even against uh, people, yung dami ng mga tao, di ba, parang we keep on, and against data rin, di ba, na tumataas yung kaso, and then yet, we keep opening yung mga stores, di ba, may talk pa nga nababawasan yung distance. Eh. Parang yun yung ginagawa ng government na parang to open up the economy para doon bumalik sa normal yung takbo ng buhay. And then, you will hear something like this. Parang hindi na naman consistent, 'di ba? Na parang takot yung mga tao pero niluluwagan nyo pa nga yung mga restrictions. So parang ano ba talaga?
Parang ngayon, parang ano ba talaga?
Oo. So clearly it's just to test the waters. If people will not talk about it, 'di ba? Kung okay lang sa mga tao.
Oo, pero 'di ba, yun na nga parang sabi nga natin no less than the Vice President herself nag-react dun sa ano na yun. So ang alam ko parang in-interview yata yung itong individual na ito. In-interview yata siya. Oo. At ang sabi raw yata niya ay parang hindi naman ganun yung ibig ko sabihin. Kaya biglang mo, iba, ano na tayo dyan, sanay na tayo sa mga, hindi naman ganun yung ibig ko sabihin. I was misquoted. Yan. Hirap.
Atenista from La Vista. Yan.
Oo nga.
Oo.
At ito pala, Sir Gino, no, yung nung Saturday lang, I think that was last Saturday, medyo nag-viral din to sa Facebook no, nabasa ko to. Medyo sumali nga rin ako dito, nagkwento rin ako dito. The 11th anniversary of Typhoon Ondoy. Ayan. 11 years ago. No, ganun na pala katagal yung naglakad ako sa baha. No?
Grabe, nabutan ka, di ba? Nakita ko yung post mo eh.
Grabe yun. Yun nga, nasa ano ko noon, nasa City Hall ako ng Quezon City no, when we used to live in Quezon City para magparehistro, para bumoto. Tapos, yun na. Tapos, yun nga talaga, as in, yung dun sa moment na yun, hindi pa namin alam, kasama ko yung batchmates ko, hindi namin alam anong meron. Basta alam lang namin, malakas yung ulan. Pero hindi namin alam na may nangyayari na palang delubyo.
Kasi parang di ba, yung typhoon nun, hindi naman kalakasan eh. So parang sanay na rin naman tayo na gano'n, di ba? Sanay tayo na parang tropical storm lang yata si Ondoy, di ba? Never typhoon yata. Hindi ako sure ha. Pero yun, tapos biglang may gano'n.
Oo, biglang sinabi na ayun nga yung doon sa post ko, sabi niya, hindi na makakarating yung in charge doon sa district namin sa Quezon City dahil nga hindi na raw siya makalabas dahil sa baha. Kaya nagtataka kami, baha ba? Tapos paglabas namin ng Quezon City Hall, baha nga. Yun. Tapos yun, kinailangan ko po maglakad pa uwi.
Kasi wala akong memory ng Ondoy na physics, yung talaga nakita ko kasi by some weird coincidence, wala po ako sa Pavilion. Nangyari yung Ondoy. Although nakatira na ako dito sa sa Calabarzon, no, sa yung tipong isa sa worst affected yung lugar namin. And wala akong I was not physically here kasi nga nasa Bohol ako noon, nataon na. Ako po yung jobless noon. Wala po akong trabaho noon. And ito yung una, yun yung pahinga ko na parang bago ako bumalik sa trabaho sana. Parang nag-Bohol ako just to parang recover and take a break. Nangyari siya. So, hindi rin ako nakapag kasi may mga kamag-anak din ako. Although hindi kami naapektuhan masyado. May mga relatives ako and friends na talaga apektado. So yun.
Oo. Grabe talaga yung Ondoy. Kaya wala naman hindi naman na nangyari ulit yung ganun kalakas na bagyo, thankfully nga. Pero parang first time na at least ngayong buhay tayo na ganun na nagkaroon ng ganun kalakas na ulan, ganun katagal na ulan.
Pero ano yun ha, Sir Neil, yung nagsimula doon yung parang mas naging frequent na typhoons na
Yeah.
malalakas. Diba?
Oo.
At least in the social media age, diba? Parang very well covered, well reported. So parang it started with Ondoy and then dumating si Sendong, diba?
Oo.
And si Yolanda, of course. So parang ano yan, it has become seemingly more frequent.
Oo. Tsaka hindi ko alam kung ako lang, pero parang from my memory, yung mga summer din natin, kapag mga March, April, May, parang they didn't used to be so hot. Pero parang naalala ko, yung summer after Ondoy, so balik 2009 ang Ondoy, summer of 2010, in my memory, hindi ko po alam kung ako lang to, parang doon nagsimula yung pag summer, parang nag-level up yung init.
Yeah.
Parang simula 2010 tapos until now actually na September na 2020, mag-October sa first week. Ang init ngayong araw, actually ang init ngayong araw.
And then there's this year 2016 ba, 2017 na parang 5 weeks lang yung summer. Naalala mo yun, yung parang sandaling-sandali lang iinit. Na parang March, sobrang lamig pa, and then parang second week of April, umulan na, tuloy-tuloy na. Yung mga ganon, diba? So very abnormal, I guess, yung weather patterns.
Parang compared to what we're used to, bago na talaga ang panahon. Kaya po,
dahil bago ang panahon, ma-adjust tayo.
Yes, oo. Well, kailangan din natin po talaga mag-adjust, no, sa kahit sa natural occurrences, no. Kaya mag-ingat-ingat po pa rin. Kasama naman dyan sa natural occurrence siguro ang COVID, no. Kung natural occurrence man siya. Kaya mag-ingat po tayo, no. Drink your vitamins, take your vitamins, drink plenty of water. Eat healthy.
Gusto natin yan, yung vitamins. Bili lang kayo ng muna, guys.
Pag napadaan kayo ng ortiga. Yan. Kaya po
pero huwag masyadong madami ha, kasi iihi nyo lang yan. Sorry for the term.
Once a day lang.
Yeah, once a day.
Yan. Okay. At makinig lang po at manood ng Radyo Katipunan. Yan, 87.9 FM.
Lalo pag umuulan. Narinig yung mga kumakanta-kanta na ano.
Oo. And dito rin po, no, patuloy din po panonood niyo dito sa amin sa LeadX dahil marami po tayong mga interesting na pinag-uusapan dito. Speaking of mga interesting na pinag-uusapan, last week, if you joined us last week, we had the other groups who were also conducting their RecWeek, which concluded, I think last Saturday din, no? We had a representative from the Sangguniang. We had Zach Gapus, and we had Ivan Nabong and Jazzy Reyes from Lions to talk about yung mga nangyayari sa kanila sa RecWeek nila, sa respective RecWeeks nila, at nakakatuwa na nakita natin sa yung iba pang mga choices and options para sa ating students who want to join organizations.
Saka di ba, parang mas nakilala natin yung like never before kasi the information is really readily available to us now. Yung mga iba-ibang orgs, aside from the POA orgs, we get to know nabanggit ng Lions, saka yung
At speaking of getting to know organizations, diba? Syempre dahil online tayo, virtual tayo ngayong first semester at hindi tayo or hindi kaya ng ating students, yung mga gustong sumali sa mga organizations na pumunta mismo sa isang physical na RecWeek nitong past 2 weeks. Kaya mahalaga na malaman ng ating mga interested students na gusto sumali sa mga organizations kung ano-ano nga ba yung mga pinapasukan nila, ano-ano nga ba yung mga ina-applyan nilang organizations. Kaya luckily, there's a student organization, there's a student group who made this possible, who made this more convenient for our students via this application that they call Pavilion. Ayan. At ngayon nga pong umagang ito, we will be talking to the creators of this application. Sir Ino, sino-sino po ba ang mga makakasama natin ngayong morning?
Ayan. So, nandito na sila, no? So, pag tinawag ko kayo, open nyo lang yung camera nyo para makita tayo ng ating mga televiewers.
Televiewers.
Viewers. Ayan. Okay, so kasama natin ngayon yung executive board ng DSC Loyola. May alamin natin kung what is it about. But right now, we're happy to have them here with us this morning, starting with Harvey Season. Yan, hello Harvey. He's the president and CEO of DSC Loyola.
Hi everyone.
Developer of Pavilion.
And now next we have Cedric Atienza. He is the Chief Communication Officer of DSC Loyola, also the product manager of the Pavilion.
Hello.
Hi Cedric. See.
Franz Taborlupa, ayan. Very Filipino naman ang kanyang surname.
Yes.
Yan, from 2BS Computer Engineering, Chief Technology Officer of DSC Loyola and Product Developer of Pavilion. Good
Hi
morning,
Franz.
Hello.
Yan. Mamadaling kina Franz. Next. Yeah.
Hello.
Yan.
Hi Franz. Next we have Polly Materna, 3BS ITE. She's the Chief Human Resources Officer of DSC Loyola and also the User Experience Designer for the Pavilion. Hi, Polly.
And then we also have si Jethro Sia, the DSC Lead and Chief Finance and Externals of DSC Loyola there. Data Engineer of the Pavilion app. Hello, Jethro.
Hello sir, good morning.
And lastly, we have Audrey Picar, 4BS MIS, MSCS, Chief Operations Officer of DSC Loyola and also the User Experience Designer of the Pavilion app. Hi, Audrey. Good morning.
Good morning.
Ano ang babata nila, Sir Neil?
Oh, mga second year, although si Audrey senior.
Oo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pero malayo pa rin yung edad nila sa atin.
Naman. Oh, naman.
Pero yun, grabe I'm actually pleasantly surprised that most of you are either second year and third year. So, wow, what a pleasant surprise.
Kasama natin na ang dami natin this morning. At thank you for for accepting our invitation to be here on LeadX and to talk about the application that sabi ko nga that made everything more convenient for our students.
For the parents, di ba?
Oo,
what is this about?
Recruitment na yan?
Oo, makita nga kung ano yung mga orgs na yan, di ba?
Oh, yan. Okay, bago tayo magsimula, kumusta muna? How are you guys? Kumusta ang online classes so far, first sem? Mukhang natatawa lang sila lahat.
Oo. Para Sir Neil, in the past, we usually ask this for our student guests. Yeah, we get interesting reactions, non-verbal or verbal. Every time.
Yung mga ganyan, yung parang mga ganun-ganun lang.
Oo. Sige, kamusta?
I mean,
mag-umpisa?
online classes are okay naman po, sir. There are a lot of modules, but kinakaya naman po. We're balancing everything from work and school, but kinakaya.
Okay,
Adjusting
ayan.
well.
Oo.
On my end naman, sir, since it's my first time like online classes, and then all the summer, all the COVID break, I'm on Coursera lang. So I'm your
Oy!
BS Coursera. Nax, thank you
Galing.
Coursera. Shout out. But yeah, so it's my first time, so I'm just really adjusting. And then what I've been doing with Coursera, the pacing and all is also the same thing that I'm doing with my online classes. And I'm thankful enough that my profs are really considerate of what's happening even right now during the PLDT maintenance thing that's happening. If there's a problem in the internet, they're free to adjust, and I'm happy that the Ateneo community is having that aspect as well.
Nabanggit
Oo
mo
nga
yan,
pala,
ano?
no?
Oo.
Oo nga
I
pala,
hope walang
PLDT.
affected masyado, no? Ikaw ba, Sir Neil, affected ka nun? Hindi naman.
Ako ay kabilang sa mga subscribers, pero parang
Ay, okay.
so far naman parang medyo
Okay,
okay
no?
naman. Oo, medyo okay naman.
Totoo yun. I mean, si Intact yan. Hindi ko pa nami-meet yung mga freshies ko. We're supposed to meet nung Friday. Pero yan, dahil nga dito sa maintenance issue. So, we're all doing okay. Nabanggit ni Harvey yung Coursera. I think free pa rin yung Coursera courses for Ateneo students, right?
Yes po. Yeah.
Oo. So, nakailang micro-credentials ka na, Harvey? Ilang certificate na?
Di ko na rin po alam.
Hindi ko na bilang.
Tapos BS Courserian si Harvey.
Madami na po yan.
Oo.
Oo nga.
Ako na-overwhelm ako dun sa like everything is there. Parang what you need to learn down from basic photography, meron everything. Ewan ko kung merong pagbebenta ng fishbowl kung meron doon. Pero I'm sure there's digital marketing available. Coursera.
Actually, sir,
There.
it's we're thankful with Coursera, the subscription, because the things that we learn there, we also apply it in our organization. And I think one of the reasons why we're able to build stuff is because of online learning.
Yes, exactly. And for our viewers, kung hindi kayo familiar sa Coursera, ito yung para MOOC na tinatawag nila. So ito yung mga hubs or mga education sites that you can get courses for free or for a fee. Mga short courses lang ito na you can take. Most of them asynchronous, diba? Self-paced. Okay, punta naman tayo kay Franz, Sir Neil.
Yan.
Hello. Online classes, but it's just a lot of getting used to it. So finding my own pace. So I really try to follow the schedule, set like the thing that we enlisted for. But so far it's been really okay for me and I'm enjoying naman. Like I really like my subjects.
Yeah, it's gonna take some getting used to talaga. Okay?
Yeah,
Sanayan
yeah.
lang talaga,
Mm.
Alright.
Pag morning classes na synchronous, nakakap.
Ay, tignan mo nga naman yan, Tignan mo nga naman yan.
Hirap.
Mamaya pa kami ni Franz. Ayan.
Oo.
Daming alarm.
Yeah.
Oo. Sige, let's go to Paul.
Yeah, Polly.
I'm doing fine. It's just the thing where you're surprised because you end up missing out like one discussion board. It's like sometimes online classes, like especially our platform, it's like you really gotta make sure you answer everything because it's like, oh surprise, you forgot to answer this one discussion module. But more or less, it's been good.
Yun yung mga nababasa ko sa social media posts ng ibang students, yung parang minsan nagugulat sila, ay meron pa pala akong hindi nasagutan or
Yeah.
yung parang gano'n, parang you tend to look past something na meron pa pala yan.
Kasi I mean, actually tayo rin pagka since sa Intact, minsan nakagulat ako, ay meron pa pala akong hindi na-replyan. Yung mga
gano'n. Ayan, let's go to Jethro.
Still adjusting po, sir, pero super okay. I think all of my professors this quarter are very prepared
Okay.
for the online classes.
Alright. Super okay naman daw. Ayan. Talagang gano'n. Sanayan nga.
Yes,
Sana yan.
Okay. And lastly, si Audrey.
For my online classes, konting adjustment lang din. Because I've been, like, most of my classes is in Moodle, but I have some core subjects in Canvas, and I'm new to Canvas, so I really need to learn, I think, yung paano mag-post sa discussion board sa Canvas and all that. So, yun lang po for me.
Oo. Napag-usapan din nga namin ni Sir Ino na ah, ano talaga yung canvas din, it really takes some parang exploring talaga para magamay mo yung yung interface niya, ganyan.
Ayun, no? We live in a place where social media is the internet. You know, Philippines is like that. So, yung interface that we're used to is medyo siguro nagre-resemble konti with how social media looks, ano. Which leads me to the app.
Yan. Yun na.
Ayan. So, kamusta? Kamusta ba yung yung journey, no? Yan ang pag-uusapan natin ngayon, kung paano yung how this came about and gaano katagal yung development ng made by DSC Loyola. Pero pag-usapan muna natin, ano nga ba yung DSC Loyola? What is it about?
Okay, I can start by introducing the org.
Yes.
So Developer Student Clubs Loyola is a student organization in Ateneo. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, this September marks our first year anniversary. So happy
wow.
anniversary.
Happy
First
anniversary,
year
DSC.
pa lang. ng org namin. So, and we're happy that we're making impact even though we're just 1 to 2 years in founding. And DSC is part of like the program of Google developers. So we're part of this network of community ranging from Google developers. So there are professionals helping us out, students as well, international. Yeah, so to give you a glimpse of it, DSC Ateneo Loyola, the chapter that we have here in the university, is that we are one of the first batch of organization, 19 chapters nationwide. And so shout out to all the chapters in the Philippines. I salute you to the good work you're doing in North Luzon, in Visayas and Mindanao. So we're creating impact together. And right now, we'd like to introduce my co-partner in this, Jetro Sia, our current DSC lead. And may you introduce, the other chapters, because right now we grew to 24 chapters nationwide.
Okay.
Actually, Jethro and Harvey, before you say anything, if you actually Google it, Google and you search it on on social media, maraming lalabas kung developer students, di ba? DSC yung ita-type mo. Kaya nung tinatag ko kayo sa social media, hinalap ko pa eh.
Hinalap pa?
Oo. Ganun kadami yung chapter, di ba, Jethro?
Oh, madami po talaga, sir. Yun na po, sabi ni Harvey kanina, 24 chapters yung meron sa buong Philippines. Meron from galing Tugigaraw pa hanggang sa Zamboanga. So, ganun po kakalat yung mga DSC chapters sa buong Philippines. So, madami yun talaga.
Nice. So, maganda pala na na you're part of this huge network of like-minded individuals na gustong tumulong with other people. Pero sige, what does DSC Loyola kumbaga parang advocate for, stand for? What is the organization all about?
I think I can speak in behalf of the org since I'm part of the founding fathers tatay no ng org. Pero like
naman
it would be siguro among all the tech organizations in Ateneo. I think it's best for our viewers to view us like a tech org that uplifts community through technology. So as you would know, there's a problem, there's a disparity between the communities nowadays. For example, in Ateneo pa lang sa labas, di ba? There's a problem like mga tricycle drivers natin, jeepney drivers, maraming tulong na pwede mangyari. Even, di ba, sa likod lang natin, Marikina, there are lots of problems that can be we can help with. And our organization, in fact, I think it would be best to look at para kaming Kai, Isaac, na tech. So it's really bringing back, I think it's really say now we have the privilege to learn this, 'di ba? Coursera, all the technologies, this network. But what's the use of a network, 'di ba? If we can't bring it back to the community, nation building. So I think that's the big vision we're fighting for, and it's really ultimately uplifting community through technology. And I think that's one of the reasons why Pavilion was, happened. Out of nowhere, Pavilion just happened because that's what we're fighting for. We want to uplift communities, maybe big communities, small communities, whatever it is. We just want to use the knowledge that we have and bring it back to the people because they're the ones that really helped us. Yeah, I think Jet, do you have something more to add?
Tulad po ng mention ni Harvey, what we really want in our organization is impact-driven technologies. To create parang gusto po namin na parang hindi lang basta pag-aralan yung mga technologies na padamihan ng technologies na maaral. Gusto namin yung may magagawa talaga siya, may matutulong siya sa communities, hindi lang sa Ateneo, kundi kung makakaya sa buong Pilipinas. Sana.
Uplifting communities, no?
Through
technology. Maganda yun, no? Kasi nga, parang when we think of technology, kasi parang, parang it's something up in the air na baka it's not really something reachable, so to speak, no, for our siguro yung mga kababayan natin na do not have the resources to access such technologies. Kaya maganda na parang you're meeting people halfway, di ba? And yun na nga, no, nabanggit na nga ni na Harvey yung app, yung Pavilion. Ayan, baka maganda na marinig na natin ano ang kwento nito, saan nagmula yung idea of creating this application specifically for RecWeek 2020.
I'll give this floor po to our product manager. So,
Ayan.
let's go, product manager Siege Atienza.
Ayan, si Siege Atienza actually yung nagsulat ng Medium, di ba, article. Tama ba? Yun yung nabasa ko na
Yes.
okay, may story dito and I think it's worthy of more than an hour's worth of episode ng LeadX. Pero syempre, in as much as you can say, dun sa konting panahon natin, and kwento mo nga kung ano nangyari at paano nagkaroon ng Pavilion.
I guess I can start by saying it all started with Coursera. I guess since we got the free Coursera, all of us in the executive board, we've been taking a lot of courses, we've been learning new things and all of these. And for me personally, I took some user experience design courses. And with that, one of the tasks was to make a flow of an app. And for fun, sabi ko lang, okay, gawa akong RecWeek app. Ang magawa Like, what happens if we centralize RecWeek into one thing? That was under the assumption that we'd be back in school by like June. I was still under that assumption. So I actually have it with me here. These were the first drafts of Pavilion. So if you guys can see, I designed it in a way na, if you have an on-site RecWeek, you just scan a QR code and you get to fill up the application form and all of that. So it just started as a Coursera homework. Pavilion started as Coursera homework. And then I guess after that, I kind of let it go because we found out na COVID's getting worse. We're not going to have on-site classes. And then one day, I just messaged our EB. Sabi ko, guys, gawa tayo RecWeek app. And, it was just a joke. Like, we normally joke about these things around 1, 2 a.m. We talk about our future. We talk about all these career talks. And then out of nowhere, the next day, Harvey messaged us and he was like, guys, kinausap ko na Kowa. Tara, mangyayari na to. So we were all overwhelmed. Like, we were all going through a normal day. Tapos biglang nag-message si Harvey na ganun. And that night, sabi niya, guys, emergency meeting tayo. Let's talk about this. And ayun, I think that was July 9. July 9, we started talking about Pav. Pav is the shortcut for Pavilion. Yeah. So we started talking about Pav, and then we planned who will do what and what we plan with it. And yeah, I guess that's how it started. It was literally just a joke. Like, RecWeek app. But Mr. Harvey season, he makes everything we say real. So here we are. We're here now.
In my defense, for me, I see the value, and it's something that we're fighting for. It's something that we're fighting for, and I think the best thing to Mikey.
Sorry, Harvey.
Enabler.
Oh, sorry.
So,
Yeah.
medyo naputol yata ng konti si Harvey yan. Pero, hindi nakakatuwa, no, that it started with, we were talking about Coursera at lo and behold, doon pala nagsimula yung idea. And,
Coursera. Oo.
ayan, tapos, parang a seemingly wild idea or parang ano lang, ganun lang, or a homework turns into, yun nga, no, parang may talagang ano, no, parang seizing the moment type, ganyan, or episode moment dito sa pagbuo ng Pavilion, no.
I think, sir, sorry, I was lagging kanina. To add to that nga is, if may ganun kayo moment as for the televiewers, di ba? You have, wow, viewers ka dami.
Televiewers.
I'm ginagamit ka na kay Sir Gino eh. So, if ever talaga you have this moment, di ba, this problem you wanna solve, I think grab the moment, seize the opportunity, and you never know what may happen. And I think that's how Pavilion, came about. And I think if you're scared, I think it's natural to be scared, to be fearful of what the future is. But I think if you just seize the moment, take it into something that you can fight for, and I think everything would just meet in place. And thanks to Siege, everything happened.
Actually, Harvey, I like the story because it started with a joke and para in a way nakaka-relate ako and I guess si Sir Neil kasi di ba tayo rin sa OSA, ganyan din tayo minsan magbiruan. Minsan, actually hindi lang minsan, karamihan din ng mga ideas or concepts that we have and what you're seeing right now that we churn out. Karamihan dyan nagsimula sa kalokohan din eh. Sa jokes. But I think what's
bring
key
up lang
here,
ng wild idea, pagtatawanan namin for a time, tapos biglang gawin natin.
Parang lang siya, nag-start lang siya nakabaliwan o kalokohan lang one afternoon para kwentuhan. And then ito na, nangyari na siya, ganyan.
Ayan, sige. Siguro let's talk about yung contributions of the members, of the other members. So, who did what? Ano yung contributions, no? What did each member at least of the EB pitched in dito sa paggawa ng PAB?
Let's go see
with your indulgence, Siege, gusto ko tanungin si Polly kasi siya yung siya yung user experience designer. I think key with technology, and with other stuff more than anything else, yung simplicity. Diba? Parang ngayon, di ba, bombard tayo ng na everyone's just new, iba pa nga yung ating mga teachers, everyone's just trying to get by in this online world. And nagiging komplikado siya, di ba? Lalo na kung hindi ka pa masyadong sanay, parang yung urge really is to just churn out data, churn out ideas without having to simplify. But I think yung skill and then the gift of product designers and user experience designers is being able to simplify things. And I think that's what you guys did. So kamusta yung process from your end as a user experience designer of it all?
Alongside Audrey, what we actually did is that in the process, whenever we make these kinds of things, you really put into the forefront our users. So for like an entire week or two, we actually went off into creating the best questions to ask like our users. So when it comes to things like this, we're not trying to make anything new. We're just trying to lend how they do things currently and manifest them into a design. So me and Audrey Picari were the UX designers. We did the whole ideating on how to ask the questions, what questions to ask, tapping the people and then interviewing them. So everything began with the users. So we asked them a lot of questions that we got. Like if you notice in Pav, there's even a feature where you can bookmark, you can save like the ones interested in down to the content of each card of like the organizations. All of that was a product of research. So we really got those from getting to know and just talking to the people who experienced RecWeek before, people who were from Lions, from COA, and things like that. So
medyo nawawala si Polly. Pero ayan, nandiyan ka na ba, Polly? Sige, go ahead.
I think, sir, since Polly's have net problems, we can ask Audrey here
Audrey.
on to add.
Okay.
Sige.
So
You wanna add something?
yeah, you probably talked about like research, like interviewing users and all that. So that's part of the process. But another part then ng UX research is to I think gather or process information from what we have, like all those interview transcripts, anong pwede namin gawin doon. So after the interview proper, we siege, and also Franz actually was there with Polly and I to create like personas to better understand who our users will be. And then ayun nga, we created then yung mga features na malalagay dun sa app. So I think that's part of UX research then, that we get to process the information, all those information. So yun lang.
Gal, and gaano ka dami yung yung mga tao that you ask as part of the user experience study?
Because I was tasked basically to interview COA accredited orgs, so we chose so we chose 3 COA accredited orgs and COA itself, and then Polly focused on Lions, and then Jet, I forgot ano nga ulit yung na-focus mo na interview?
Not interview, G-forms.
G-forms. Oh, yan. We also gathered G-forms para rin to support the
survey naman si Jet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nakakatuwa yung ganun, no? Na talagang based on what the users want, di ba? Kasi sila rin naman ang gagamit nitong app na to. Is it patterned after or inspired by an existing design or design?
Yeah.
Si Siege po bahala dyan.
Inspiration. Yeah. Ikaw, Siege, ikaw. Ituro ka ni Harvey.
Yeah, because other than being the product manager, I was actually hands-on with the user experience with Audrey and Polly. I guess I can say that we followed the design thinking framework that most UX designers use. So the framework calls for us to empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test our products. So with that, like Polly and Audrey mentioned, we had our research and we got the different insights from them, and from there we ideated on the different features on the flow of Pav. So for the design naman, we had a branding session one night, and we got different design inspirations from websites like Behance and Dribble. So we focused on the color blue because we wanted to incorporate the Ateneo vibe in it. So with that, our branding was mostly about making the app feel homey and not too complicated, because based on the research, when you talk to people about orgs, they think about their home, they think about the family, and the best way to do that is to create a brand that doesn't necessarily impose or doesn't feel too strict with the users. So for the design inspiration with that, we kind of got inspiration from apps like Facebook, because like you mentioned earlier, a lot of people use social media, and the user experience people are used to using them. So we want to incorporate the things that are already in their habit with the app. So yeah.
Yeah.
Lee, may dadagdag ka pa?
It's just I think at the core of it, it's just really about paying attention and being a great listener, being a great conversationist with their users. It's like it's like one of those eureka moments was when one of them was making kwento like, oh, when I go around RecWeek, I take a mental note on like which ones I want to go back to. So I'm just like mental note, okay. So as you're going back through your notes, that thing kept on recurring. You're like, okay, let's apply the bookmark part of Pab. And then we also went down into finding out what is important for you to know about organization. Because we're only basically, Pab is basically like a teaser to the orgs. You don't have all of like the information. But deciding what information is to be shown came from like the research. Like, oh, I want to see if the org aligns with my values. Oh, I want to see like a couple of their events. I want to see some pictures. And that kind of is enough for them, for like our users, at least for them. That's usually what they ask when they go up into the different booths of RecWeek. They usually ask like, oh, what do you guys advocate for? What are you guys about? What are your values? So even from like the smallest things about PAV, from the copywriting all the way to the buttons, all the way to our other different features, that all came from the minds of our users. So just like a big thank you to everyone we interviewed for being very cooperative.
Yeah.
It's basically just basically
Yeah.
just talagang parang translating the RecWeek experience of the users to parang something that they can hold in their hands. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Following your process, so may user study, user experience study, and then I think Polly mentioned that it went to France after. So ayan, si France, ano naman yung kwento when it landed on your
Well,
desk?
when the thing Audrey said, because I was trying to be active during the ideation sessions, the process during the user experience thing, because there's this kind of notion that designers and developers work separately, which is something that we at DSC are fighting to change, because as a developer, you really need to understand your users. Like that's also one of the main things that you have to consider. So everything goes back to the user. So from design, the biggest thing going into development was like, what can we actually do? So considering that Harvey and I were like pretty new to mobile development and we were learning as we were going along, there were some things about the design that was hard for us. So from the features that design gave us, we worked with Jet to like kind of see how we can keep all of the data, how we can actually put it using code, like what we did. So we used technologies like Flutter and Firebase. So Google technologies that we were exposed to because of DSC. And
Nako.
we
Go ahead. Nawala rin si France.
Wala si France.
I'll
Di
sum
pa-
na, I'll sum
Ayan.
for France
Go
na
ahead,
lang.
Harvey.
Siguro to add to that, there are two technologies that we primarily use. One of which is Flutter. Flutter is it's a framework by Google, launched like 2 to 3 years ago. It's pretty young as a framework, but what's cool about it is that you can create in just one code base. You can launch it in both iOS and Android. Because
Okay.
in
Explain
reality,
natin yun, ha?
uh,
Wait, explain natin sa users yun. Kasi minsan iba yung, hindi talaga minsan, lagi, na parang when you develop an app, iba yung, iba yung for Android, iba yung for iOS, di ba?
yes,
And
sir.
then this app parang simplifies things, yung sinabi mo, Flutter, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What's cool about Flutter is that yun nga, isipin na dalawang language, 'di ba? Yung isa para for Tagalog, isa Bisaya, 'di ba? And it's hard to to put them together. You have to learn two languages, basically, like Android and iOS. Android with Kotlin, Java at the same time. iOS is Swift, and marami, sobrang daming languages to create. However, with Flutter is one of the frameworks out there that you can, one language, sabi natin, English, the lingua franca of the world, can make it into a mobile app. And what's interesting as well is that Flutter is now growing, not just to a mobile app. Using Flutter, you can create desktop apps. You can create also web apps. Actually, if we, maybe next launch of Pavilion, may desktop app na si, ano ba yung
Yan.
app? So,
Nako.
let's see. Pero that's
Baka sigilin nyo na yung ano dyan, ha? Sigilin nyo na yung layos tsaka yung kowa
Ano,
dyan, ha?
nagpaparinig na si Harvey sa atin.
Pero that's what's interesting about it. And since yun nga, Polly and Siege and the UX team emphasize the value of,
Yes.
bookmarking and applying, and we can't just do, we need a database, diba? We need somewhere to manage it, and that's where Firebase comes in. Firebase is a database management as a service where you can, parang store the data. It's like your Excel online. So, it's your G Sheet online. And then I think, this wouldn't be possible. The data wouldn't be possible without Jet here. And I think I'll give the floor to Jet on how, kasi diba, Siege wanted our product manager. We want it offline, diba? We want it to be accessible offline. And this,
Which is important, di ba? Kasi you talked about parang inclusion, di ba? And then most if not a good number of our students then, even us employees, are very conscious of our data usage, di ba? Kasi hindi naman unlimited ang ating resources. Di ba? So,
yes, sir.
yan.
So, with that,
Go ahead.
since it's offline, there's a value that the data, the information of the orgs should be processed offline as well.
Yes.
And with that, I think Jet can share to us how it all happened. How did we translate it? How did he connect to organizations and all?
So, as a data engineer, sir, I collected and organized all the data. Then I used Python to clean it, engineer the data, and I also managed that. I somehow also managed the Firebase, yung sasabi ni Harvey na parang storage. Para doon sa developers mo, parang hindi na siya super mahirap. Parang hindi na niya mamanualin isa-isa doon. Para pagka bigay ng data, nandun na siya lahat. Parang automatic na siya mag-fall in place.
Yun yung yun yung siguro behind all these applications or into all these programs, yung talagang the work, the man hours that you put in. Many people don't understand na iba yung designing ng user experience, iba yung developing, diba? Iba rin yung data management, diba? So, and then I think this where it's also important for all viewers to understand na talagang yung work that is put in the development of these apps and how you translate it to online learning, di ba, Sir Neil? Parang kaya minsan we encounter all these parang stresses, di ba? Kasi nga hindi pa tayo familiar. Yes. Pero imagine how difficult it was to make it even simpler, diba, for the end users, diba, especially for people who develop and design these applications.
Kasi ang nakikita na lang natin, di ba, as users, ang nakikita na lang natin ay yung end product na, yung yes, finished product na, yung app. Pero hindi natin alam, katulad nung mga kwento na narinig natin so far from DSC Loyola, yung designing of the app itself, yung coding, yung gathering of the data, yung managing of the data. Hindi na natin nakikita yun eh. Parang pag nakita na natin yun na. So, di ba, mahalaga rin na kapag medyo nagkakaproblema sa app natin, na ginagamit natin, maintindihan natin as users, ano ba yung pinagdadaanan kasi nitong app na to before it lands on the palm of our hands na ito na yun. Siguro yun, baka magandang pag-usapan din natin yun, anong mga problem, anong mga specific memorable issues or problems along the way that we encounter. Yan,
marami kaming issues.
Yeah. Kasi 'di ba, I think I've done some readings of your journey din sa Medium. So, may mga naging issues during the development. Tapos parang meron din ako nakita na you have to update din the app several times because of some improvements that you have to do based on, sabi nyo nga, user experience din. Sige. Sino mag-share ng development phase? Ano lang, quickly lang. Ayan.
Sino? Ako na lang. So I think one of
Ikaw na lang, Harvey.
one of the main problems that we had, I think the roadblock, not just our app, but to all mobile apps out there, I think the main roadblock is Apple. It's the App Store.
Hi, Apple, don't sue us.
Apple, I
Nasa
love
news ngayon, di ba, Harvey? Nasa
Yeah.
news because of yung mga too restrictive nila.
Yeah.
I love Apple so much, but it's very highly regulated. You charge us for $99 a year, and then it took us 3 to 5 days to approve our application and updates in the App Store. So
Yes.
actually, since Siege is our communications chief, he can share more to us, the problems, the PubMat problems, especially, since we're in an online world.
Buti
alam
hindi
niyo
kayo
yung problem.
buti hindi kayo nag-in-app purchase. Required daw yata yun sa Apple eh.
Go Siege, what happened with our PubMat black?
Well, I mean, before we go to the launch, I guess we want to talk about like we had all these plans to launch early, all of that, but all of that got ruined by this story. So, I guess from a communications perspective, it was hard because we were setting up a launch for September 5, if I'm not mistaken. Like that whole week, we had a series of different PubMats, a lot of posters and promotions, like countdowns, 3 days left, 2 days left. And then we were all panicking, like every 1 a.m. we'd just be staring at the email, waiting for Apple's reply. And for 9 times, we got rejected. So it was difficult for comms. It was difficult because we had to keep pushing back the launch. It was hard to communicate with people outside because everyone's expecting, oh, malapit na yung Pav. It's gonna launch on Saturday. And then biglang, we had to decide, like, are we gonna risk it? No, we're gonna launch without App Store, or are we gonna wait? Are we gonna push back para sabay si Play Store and App Store? Because frankly, Play Store was super easy. Like they approve after like 3 hours.
Yeah,
May effect ba yun na kayo in some way connected kayo sa Google? Or would that make it easier? O hindi rin, pareho lang.
We wish.
That was one of the main problems, remember? Like one of our last updates was because we had sign in with Google option.
Actually, sa Apple po kasi para may bago silang regulation na kailangan may sign in with Apple. So for our televiewers again, if you're in an iOS, I think mostly of our Ateneo population is in Apple. If you would see their sign in with Apple option, it is because Apple wanted.
Yeah.
It's
Actually, Harvey, I'm also an iPhone user. Napansin ko rin yan, Sir Neil, di ba? Na ngayon, pansin ko rin yan, Sir Neil, na karamihan ngayon ng updates pagka nag-download ka na apps from iOS, meron ng sign-in with Apple, na parang lately lang nagkaroon, di ba?
Parang part ng security feature ng Apple, na iOS.
Actually, it's good that you mentioned that, Harvey, no, na parang yung trouble of thinking about parang launching it without iOS because hindi naman to good or bad, it is that a number, if not majority of students in Ateneo uses iOS or have an iPhone. So hindi naman siya good or bad. What does it say about us? It's just what it is. Karamihan talaga iPhone user.
I think siguro to add, sir, since this is the first time an organization at Ateneo is launching mobile development and the first ever, I think, I'm not sure, di ba? Community-wide mobile app. For me, it's really our first time. We don't know the regulations.
Yeah.
Siguro I would say, if I were to mobile dev, it's more on offline lang, akin lang, gawa-gawa lang ako on my time. The team knows about it. Coursera lang, ganyan. Pero it's our first time launching it production, meaning, you can download it in the App Store and even in App Store. So it's really a new thing for us. So we didn't expect it. And I think with the leadership of Siege, and believes na the iOS is a lot, 'di ba? In the Ateneo community. So he values na dapat ma-launch natin sa Apple yan. Bahala na. Basta ma-launch yan sa Apple.
Tsaka 'di ba Sir Neil, siguro yung mas ano natin practical application natin, 'di ba? Parang we often find ourselves as Apple users parang saying na ba't wala pa yan sa Apple? 'Di ba? May mga apps na nalo-launch na purely ano lang sa Google Play lang.
Sa Google lang, oo. Kaya
Kasi may
malamang
mga ganyang
hahanapin
restrictions,
yan.
diba? Oo.
Yes.
Alright, ayan. So, ano pa ba bukod sa ganito dun sa communications nyo with Apple, is there an issue that you encountered na otherwise would have parang ano ba made the app seemingly impossible to launch? Meron bang ganon?
I think I can give
Go.
Franz the floor.
Yeah,
Kasi
tumatawa si Franz.
Nawala siya. Pero
Welcome back.
no, I think let's go back. So since we tapos na tayo sa launch problems, doon tayo sa coding problems. So Franz, and I think since yun nga, one of the things Flutter is not taught in Ateneo, I think. And I think, if ever, di ba, you Ateneo would want to teach, baka DSC pwede magturo. Anyways, joke lang. Pero it's pretty new in Ateneo, and I think it's Fran's first, second time learning Flutter. So yeah, Franz can tell us his mobile experience.
Okay, so when it comes to coding mobile, I really didn't expect how it looked. Like it was a lot more hectic than like web development, or like it doesn't look like the stuff that you normally learn, like C++ or Python. And because in Flutter is kind of like the framework, and the thing that you actually learn the language is called Dart. So it looks similar to a lot of other programming languages, but it has its own quirks. So you'll be able to pick it up, but to really actually get to code, you need to like really practice it. And of course, it's not just when you're coding, it's not just actually making it work, but to follow kind of protocols. So there's always good practices and bad practices. And alongside that, when you're learning how to code in a new language, especially in today's world, like version control is very important. So that's where stuff like Git comes in. So I was technically learning 2 languages at the same time. And then while we were coding, one of the biggest challenges was also the data. I'm not sure if you guys talked about it because I got disconnected. But like when you have to parse the data, the format and like the code for it is also very important. So I think Jet can talk about that part.
Yeah. So madami din pong problems dun sa galing Google Forms, i-convert sa CSV, tapos i-process, dadalhin sa app. So, ang dami nagiging problems doon. So, yun din po isa ng mga naging issues namin. Pero, kailangan ma-resolve agad siya on the spot pag lumabas yung issue para hindi na mahirapan yung developers.
And Franz, you wanted to add something?
Yeah. So, when because we're going to accept members soon, and Flutter and Dart are one of the forefronts that we're going to be working with for mobile engineering. And when it comes to coding challenges, it's really just trying different stuff out, prioritizing what you need to do, and really just utilizing the resources that you have. So for us, we talked to like Flutter Philippines, like the group, and we really sought out to ask for advice or help, or like, hey, what do we do? Maybe even collaborate. Like we were even thinking of collaborating with other DSC chapters to work on this. So it's just really like, don't be afraid to ask if you don't know one part of code, and really keep talking to the designers what they really want, what they really intend, because code design to code isn't always perfect, and that's okay.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that, like because we were
Quickly
mostly with
lang,
Android. Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, we were mostly with Android development. We had to ask help for iOS. So
Yeah.
I just like to give a shout out to Sir John Sebastian and to Clarissa Castillo for helping us
Thank you
deploy
so
this
much.
because if it
Mhm.
weren't for them, you wouldn't have it on your iPhones. So
Yeah.
yes.
So thank you. Thank you sa kanila. Yeah. Now I have it. No, I have it on my phone. Nakakatuwa kasi browsing it eh. Kasi nga just like what Sir Ino mentioned earlier, it's a simple design but ewan ko kung sa I usually connect that with with Apple design eh, yung parang yung the beauty and simplicity, parang gano'n. Hindi ko alam kung ako lang ba 'yon. Pero I think with that parang it hits the right the right mark na ang dali niya kasing gamitin, ang dali niyang basahin, ang ganda niya tingnan. So it's parang it eases everything. Di ba, Sir Lino?
Yes, and I hope this is just the last time that we will hear of this happen.
Yeah.
Even when we're offline or face to face na in the green brick road.
Hindi na siya red
So
brick road.
we hope we can use it in the future, diba? In the very near future. Because this is something that I think can be very useful even if we're back to the usual RecWeek.
I think to
Yeah.
add to that, sir.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Quickly.
since we're about this app is already launched, it's already there. It's our version 1.0.0. So it's our
Yeah.
first version. And we're looking forward to how this would grow pa, ganyan. And I think to all the viewers out there, if you want, if you have an idea, since you're the users, diba, you are the forefront of what we're doing it for. Feel free to reach out to Developer Student Clubs Loyola, and also we would love to partner with us as well and the other communities that would want, to make this much more lively, much more, in sync with our traditions in Ateneo. And yeah, so there's lots of possibilities, and I think with everyone's help, we can make it possible.
And Harvey, you mentioned reaching out to DSC Loyola. Where can they find you online?
And I think Siege comes in, our chief communications officer.
Yan, go tama.
Go ahead. Sige na.
You can email us at dsc.ateneo@gmail.com, or you can search Developer Student Clubs Loyola on Facebook, dsc.loyola on IG and Twitter. So, yes. And we have a LinkedIn too.
Oh, yan, okay.
Developer Student Clubs Ateneo. Admin. Yes.
Right. And with that, we thank DSC Loyola for joining us this morning. The Executive Board of DSC Loyola, thank you for the work that
Lang
you
talaga
do.
isang oras a week.
Oo, ang dami natin pwede pag-usapan sir eh. Pero thank you, despite the time, salamat sa pagsama sa amin, for telling us your story, and for giving us Pavilion to make our lives and the students' lives even better and more convenient for this RecWeek. Maraming salamat for joining us, and more power to DSC Loyola. Yan. Alright, so may mangyayari daw mamaya-maya.
Ayan, ano daw ngayon eh. Radyo Katipunan, first time will be part of this week-long celebration of the World College Radio Day that will happen starting October 2. So kailan yun? Malapit na. This week. So Radyo Katipunan, as we said, is joining for the first time with more than 600 college and community radio stations in 6 continents to promote global solidarity and be a uniting voice amidst the pandemic. The celebration will be highlighted by a 24-hour global marathon of college radio stations broadcasting and will be heard around the world. So watch out for more promotions and updates in the coming days, starting today.
Yan, abangan po ninyo yan. So, ang ibig po sabihin yan, keep it locked in. Wow. Keep it here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. In a little bit, we will have The World Exposed by 11 a.m. Of course, with still with Cardinal Chito Tagle, at 11 a.m. And of course, ang iba pang mga programa na maaaring nyo abangan dito sa Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. And thank you for joining us this beautiful Monday morning, September 28, 2020, the last Monday for September. Ako po si Neil Reyes.
Gino Flores, have a great day ahead.
Have a great day and have a great week ahead. Goodbye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Loyola.
Thank you.
Remembrance tell how the bright blue eagles fly through joys and tears, through the laughing years. We sing our battle song. Win or lose, it's a
LeadX. X is for the extracurricular life of the Ateneo College students. X is for the X factor that transforms them into leaders, into men and women for others. X is for LeadX. LeadX.